Hello, fifth grade again. I hope you are all doing well and studying well also. Today, inshallah, we are going to begin a new unit, which is Unit 9, with the title Deep Sea Animals. You are going to read a story with descriptions of sea creatures. سوف تقرأ قصة تحتوي على وصف لكائنات تعيش في البحر. These things are in the story. Aquarium, which means حوض أسماك. This picture is for a very big aquarium. It is an aquarium under the water. This is another photo of an aquarium. Exhibition, which means معرض. هذه الصورة معرض للأحياء البحرية. This is also an exhibition. eel, which means نوع من أنواع الأسماك يسمى سمك الإنقليس. This is another kind of eel. Squid, which means الحبار لديه ما يسمى بالمجسات, which is in English tentacles. Exhibition وهو معرض. هنا لدينا معرض للأحياء البحرية. This is another one. eel وهو نوع من أنواع الأسماك ويسمى سمك الإنقليس. Another kind of eel. Squid, which means الحبار. As you can see here, we have tentacles وهي المجسات. jellyfish وهو قنديل البحر. Another kind of jellyfish. Fairy sponge وهو الإسفنج البحري. sea lily وهو زنبق البحر. The story contains direct speech. It begins like this. It's going to be boring, complained Jack. I hate museums. القصة لدينا تبدأ بما يسمى بالكلام المباشر. It's going to be boring. كل شيء بين quotations فواصل هو كلام مباشر. I hate museums. كلام مباشر. The story has a lot of narrative. The narrative tells you what happens when no one is speaking. القصة فيها الكثير من سرد الأحداث، والسرد يخبرنا أكثر عن ما يحدث في القصة عندما لا يتحدث أحد، أي عندما لا يكون لدينا كلام مباشر. These sentences are narrative. They tell you about the exhibition. هذه الجمل هي جمل سردية تخبرنا عن المعرض. It was dim in the deep sea discovery room. There were some video screens with discs in the front and some controls. Molly went to the nearest one and read the instructions. The story has a lot of description in the narrative. It describes the sea creatures. This is part of one description. القصة تحتوي على الكثير من الوصف في السرد الموجود فيها، وتصف لنا كائنات بحرية أو حيوانات بحرية. هذا الجزء من القصة يحتوي على وصف لأحد الأسماك. A strange silver animal began to cross the screen. It was long and flat. It had lots of tiny tentacles along both sides of its narrow body. Adjectives are important in description. الصفات مهمة جدا في الوصف. We use adjectives, right? Now count the adjectives in this description. كم صفة لدينا في هذا الوصف؟ A strange silver animal. Strange غريب, which is adjective. Silver animal began to cross the screen. It was long and flat. It had lots of tiny tentacles, tiny, along both sides of its narrow body. So these are adjectives. Now open a pupil's book on page 94 and 95. Look at the pictures. Have you ever seen any creatures like these? Have you ever visited an aquarium? Have you ever gone diving? Now you are going to listen to this story. Follow in your box.
Pupils Book, page 94, Unit 9, Deep Sea Animals. Reading. Deep Sea Discovery. It's going to be boring, complained Jack. I hate museums. It's not a museum, it's an aquarium, Dad explained. Same thing, muttered Jack. It'll be boring anyway. There's a new exhibition, said Molly. It's called Deep Sea Discovery. It was designed by scientists. You can operate a camera that is deep in the sea. I'd like to go there first. Good idea, said Dad. Huh, grunted Jack. It was dim in the Deep Sea Discovery room. There were some video screens with desks in front and some controls. Molly went to the nearest desk and read the instructions. Then she began to work the controls. The black screen turned dark blue. There aren't any animals, said Jack. Come on, this is boring. Oh! At that moment, an astonishing creature swam across the screen. It It was red, but the colour glowed warmly. It looked like a Chinese lantern. Suddenly, flashes of colour ran up its tentacles. It was as bright as an electric sign in the street. "That's so beautiful," whispered Molly. "Wow!" exclaimed Jack, pointing at the screen. "Look at that!" A strange silver animal began to cross the screen. It was long and flat. It had lots of tiny tentacles along both sides of its narrow body. It flapped gently up and down as it moved through the water. It looked like a long silver wave. "This control turns the camera," said Molly, and she turned it away from the silver creature that was already disappearing into the gloom. "Can I have a go?" asked Jack. "Of course," replied Molly, and she got up to let Jack sit down. For the next hour, they watched one strange creature after another. There were crabs with such small bodies and such long, thin legs that they looked like giant spiders. There was an eel with a long, thin tail and an enormous head and mouth. Its mouth was so big that it could eat fish as big as itself. There were tiny squid that made light in their own bodies. They shone like little flashing stars. There was a small furry sponge. There were big squid and jellyfish that you could nearly see right through. Some of them had long, hairy tentacles. They floated around, picking up bits of food. One jellyfish looked like a plastic bag with eyes. Another one looked like a big round cushion. There was an incredible creature that looked like a flower. It was called a sea lily, but it was an animal. The parts of it that looked like leaves and a flower were actually tiny tentacles. They picked up food and passed it to the animal's mouth in the middle of the flower. After 2 hours, Dad said, "Do you want to go soon?" Jack looked round in surprise. "You're not bored already, are you, Dad?" he asked.
Now you have a homework. Prepare the lesson. Pupils book page 94 and 95. تحضير الدرس الموجود في الصفحات 94 و 95. There is a document of new words in the story on the school's application. هنالك ملف بالكلمات الجديدة ومعانيها في داخل القصة موجود على تطبيق قرطاج التفاعلي.